suppose this information even is going to explain the process in how to set up our online rota system for the parent-teacher meeting. I'll now share a PowerPoint. I suppose it's been sent out to parents already. I will be taking off the camera for myself just when I'm going through it. So I'll just take that off now, and I'll share PowerPoint. As Mr. Kelly has already stated, the third and sixth year parent-teacher meeting cannot proceed as usual due to our public health guidelines, and instead it will take place online through our virtual platform Zoom. Now, some of us may be aware of Zoom. I know the students would certainly be aware of Zoom from using it during a remote learning period of the school lockdown last year, and parents that would have attended information meetings before would be run through Zoom. So I would hope that the majority of people would be affair with what I'm going to explain this evening. In order for the school to arrange a rota for the meeting, we'll be using a system called PTM Organizer. Parents would have received information on how to engage with this process yesterday. So the third year students would have taken home a pack yesterday containing the user ID, the school roll number, the protocol for the online meeting, as well as a user manual. Sixth year students haven't received that information as of yet. They will, however, receive it this coming Friday. In the pack, the user ID and the school roll number are two of the most important things, I suppose, to hold on to, and two of the most important things in order for us to access the portal system. What I will show you now is the PTM Organizer portal, and I'll just again change the sharing screen to the website for where you can access it. So by typing in ptmorg.com, you will be brought to the website where you can see you've got different logins. You can see the parent guardian login, the school login, and the teacher login. You can also access this login system from our school website. So if you were to type in olss.ie and we search that, brings up our school website. And what we have here is another way of accessing the rota system. So if I was to click on my third year online parent-teacher meeting rota, like so, and click on the following link below here, will bring me to the same page. Now, the only difference there is that the school roll number is clearly visible here for, it's already there for parents, and all the parents would have to do would be to fill in the student ID. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to bring you through the login process for parents. So as you can see, the roll number is already there. The next part, where I will be using the student ID, which third year parents have already got. For the process of just this evening, I'll be using a test one, and I'll be using two students in the school who aren't in third year, just to give parents an idea. So in order for me to log in, I will put in my user ID, hit login, and I'm brought to this page. So this student in question is David McMahon, and what I've got is David's teachers and his subjects. You can see the subjects on the left-hand side and the teachers. So this is the steps in which parents would just have to follow. You're then given an option of your preference list. So with your preferences, you can see that just above it, you're asked to, in order of starting from 1 to 2, right up to 20, which you won't need. Okay, and then please enter 0 if you do not wish to meet this teacher. 1 would be the teacher that you would like to see the most, followed by 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Some people may want to opt to put 1 for every single teacher. If you do opt to do that, it will make no difference. The software that we're using will basically randomly select one of those teachers as the first preference, as the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and so on. So by doing that, you're actually leaving yourself at a disadvantage if you put 1 beside all of the teachers. This is where it's important, I suppose, where you have a chat with your son or daughter and I suppose decide what teachers do you really need to see? You know, what teachers do you really need to meet with and have a discussion with in our online parent-teacher meeting? It may be all of them and it may not be all of them. I suppose in third year, students have a lot of subjects. Outside of your core subjects, you could be looking at PE, you could be looking at religion, computer studies, well-being. Those subjects won't be down for this parent-teacher meeting. If it is a teacher that you would like to speak to in some of those subjects, please contact the school after the parent-teacher meeting to arrange a phone call with that particular teacher. However, your core subjects, English, Irish, Maths, your 2 option subjects, your geography, your science, your history, will all be there as an option for a third-year parent to tick. For the sixth-year parents, it would be the same. It would be your core subjects and your option subjects for your sixth-year parents to tick their preferences or select their preferences. So if I was to select one for Mr. Mulroe in business, Miss Clark in geography, I was to select number 2, and so on, number 3 for Irish with Miss Clerkin. Now, say for example, I'm happy with my son's progress in history with Mr. McKenna, and I would leave it as 0, that I don't actually want to speak to Mr. McKenna. That's absolutely fine. Once I'm finished with this process, I scroll down and I then hit, I will attend the meeting, please save my preferences. Once that's saved, the school will get a notification that you've submitted your preferences for the rota. Once all of once all parents have submitted their preferences, the portal will close. So for third years, the portal will close this Thursday at 4 p.m. and this will allow the school time to create the rota for each student. Once this has happened and once we've had the time, the portal will reopen next Monday. And again, you'll be notified on the school app as to when the portal has opened. This is why it would be important to hold on to your student ID number, or so your child's ID number, and the school roll number. You log back in on Monday, November the 8th, after you get the notification from the school app. And what will happen, and I'm going to take you through that now in a second, well, once you log back in, using the username, using the user ID and the school roll number, you will be given a rota very similar to the one which is in front of you now on the screen. So what you will see is, for example, business studies with Mr. Mulroe, your time slot would be 4:15. Science with Mr. Murray would be 4:25, and so on. So those are the slots in which you will have for the parent-teacher meeting. Now, the next part to it, I suppose, and this is where it's important again for the students where they come into play. The students will be sent an email to their Gmail. The students will be sent an email to their own school Gmail account. This will contain the Zoom links to each of your meetings. Once you click on the relevant link, it will bring you to the Zoom meeting. And again, these meetings are scheduled for 5 minutes. So each meeting is scheduled for a 5-minute slot. I'll just bring you back to the PowerPoint now. Sorry, second. Just 1 second, bring it back. Sorry, it's just not allowing me to share the screen. However, once you're sent the links for the Zoom meeting, you would click on the Zoom and proceed as your rota would say. So say, for example, you had business. First, you would click on the business link to Mr. Mulroe, which will be clearly labeled. Next, you would have your English link. You would go to your English link, click on that, and so on and so forth, moving through the different meetings. I would ask that you would make sure that Zoom is downloaded to your laptop, desktop, or phone. And again, use your son or daughter to check this for you. As I said, they will be au fait with it. They will be used to using it during the lockdown period, and they will know whether Zoom is on your particular device in which you would like to use. As I've said, each slot will last a maximum of 5 minutes, and staff have been asked to make sure that this is followed, as if the meeting was to run over, it would have a knock-on effect for every meeting for that particular teacher and also for yourself. So there'll be a knock-on effect moving through the different meetings in which you would have, so they will be delayed, which we don't want happening. Some meetings may perhaps take 5 minutes, some may take less. If it takes less, that's no problem whatsoever. In the information pack that would have been sent out to parents, I suppose the 3 main areas that we will be looking at, or teachers will be focusing on, would be progress in which your son or daughter is making, areas for improvement, and engagement in the class. Those are the 3 areas that the teacher will discuss. Say, for example, you've had your 5 minutes with that particular teacher. There's something that you'd still like to discuss, and you find it necessary that you would like to continue the conversation. You can contact the school in the days after the parent-teacher meeting and arrange a phone call with that particular teacher to run through the different topics that you would like to have a chat with. Looking at our online protocol, and again, this was sent out yesterday electronically on the school app, and also as a hard copy with our 3rd year students. Our 6th year students will receive this on Friday as a hard copy. So the protocol for online parent-teacher meeting, you should see it in front of you on your screens. Parents and students are invited to attend the meeting, and they're advised that due to the number of students in the year group, the time available is limited. A meeting should take no longer than 5 minutes. We ask parents to choose a quiet, neutral venue where you won't be disturbed by any other member of the household. It's advised that the student may be accompanied by a maximum of 2 adults at the meeting. To help teachers identify you in the waiting room, of the Zoom meeting, ensure you are logged in via your son or daughter's Zoom account name before you click on the first meeting. Please make sure that your camera is on when you're joining the meeting, and also that your mic is on as well. Any persons attending the meeting should be identified at the start of the meeting and be visible on the camera, and students are requested to be present with their parent or guardian during the third year meeting and the sixth year meet. Parents are reminded that no one is permitted to record or take photographs of the meeting, but please feel free to take notes as you would normally in a face-to-face parent-teacher meeting in the gym. Meetings will generally take the structure, as I said, student engagement, progress, and areas of improvement. And if as a parent, you have any other issue to discuss, you, again, as I've mentioned, you can have a follow-up meeting or a phone call with that teacher if you contact the school office in the days after the parent-teacher meeting. I suppose most importantly, and this is one, I suppose, where, you know, it's new, this system is new, certainly this online system is new for parent-teacher meetings to staff, parents and students. And I suppose an element of trust is expected between all parties. And I suppose as per school accepted uses policy, any user of our school's platform must not cause offence to another person and demonstrate a respectful etiquette at all times. And finally, to finish off on this online protocol, your support and cooperation with the above points would be greatly appreciated. Also, which was sent out in your pack, was the user manual, and basically it takes you through the steps, which I'm after going through there on the PTM organizer page, with parents logging in using the user ID, the school roll number, and picking your preferences. On Monday, you will receive that message, as I said, on the school app. Once you click in, you'll be met with your rota. What I would advise is, if possible, print off the rota, that you have a hard copy in front of you. If you're not able to print it off, write it down. So write the slots down so that you have it on a hard copy in front of you. So when you are clicking through the links for the Zoom meeting, at least you're not moving through a Word document online and also then the Zoom link, so that you have a hard copy of your rota in front of you and moving through the links then on the Excel sheet. As I've said, this is a new platform for everyone. It may take a little bit of time for people to get used to. I suppose there possibly will be some blips, but as I said in the message that went out to parents on the app, as usual with parents that are in the school, your ongoing support and patience would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions now, please feel free to ask them in the chat section. I'll try my very best to answer them. If you have no questions, feel free to sign out of the Zoom meeting, and you can check on the school app account for third year parents on next Monday, where you'll be told to access the portal system again. And for sixth year parents, the portal system will open early next week as well for you to fill in your preferences. So if you have any questions now, feel free to ask them in the chat question, and I leave the meeting running for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. And as Mr. Bishop said, folks, if anyone has any questions, you just type them into the chat function. I'll call them out, and Mr. Bishop will do his best to answer them. So listen, the platform seems very, very straightforward. So first of all, you log in, given the details that was sent home this evening. You select your preferences. You log back in next Monday. You see your schedule. And then to access your schedule, you go to your son or daughter's email, and there will be the Zoom links there for each of those teachers. There's one question there, Mr. Bishop. Will we get notifications when sixth years log in?
Yep. So again, Mr. Kelly, the parents will be notified on the school app when it's time for sixth years to log in, select their preferences. The system will close a day or two after that, then followed by another message on the school app a couple of days later to log back in to see their rota.
Okay, another question coming through, Mr. Bishop. Are students, I just lost it there for a second. Are students required to be present, and what happens when parents are not home until 5:30?
Yeah, well, I suppose in a sense, it's a little bit, we're tied for our time in the system that we're running, the rota system that we're running. I suppose if that particular parent wanted to contact me, there may be an option with the piece of software that I'd select a time limit that parent is only available to select their meetings. With that, unfortunately, that parent may not be able to meet all of their child's teachers in that time frame. However, they may be able to meet certain ones. So if that particular parent wants to contact the school tomorrow, I can have a chat with them tomorrow in relation to that.
Super. And again, Mr. Bishop, students are required to be present, isn't that right?
Students are required, yes. So as in previous years, students are required to be at the parent-teacher meeting. Our 3rd and 6th years, I think it'll be very worthwhile, being in exam years, that they are there, they are present, and they do get to listen to the advice from their teachers.
Yeah. Can you make changes to the rota after the 8th?
No, so there'll be no changes after the 8th. So whatever, basically the parent selects the rota, it closes on Thursday, that will be it. So the rota will be, I suppose, the software, the computer software that we're using, that will make the rota, and that will open on the 8th for 3rd year parents to take a look at.
If a child has one teacher for 2 subjects, should they give the same number to each subject? Or would the option there, Mr. Bishop, just to select one preference for, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, so say if you've Mr. Bishop for 2 subjects, for one of the options, select your number, be it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, and for the other one, leave 0. Would that be the best option there, Mr. Bishop? And then talk about the 2 subjects during the one time frame.
Yeah, if possible. If a parent was concerned about the 2 particular subjects and they did want to have the 5 minutes, they can select that, Mr. Kelly. However, it would be advised that if possible, that you could do the 2 subjects in that 5-minute slot. Now, there's no problem if the parent does feel the need to speak about each subject. Well, then they can obviously have the 5-minute slot for each, and they can select it then their preferences. Now, they may not be obviously they'll be at separate times, so they'd have to click into 2 separate Zooms. I did see one at the top message, Mr. Kelly, as well, just that the son, or that particular parent's son, was absent yesterday from school. So if you don't have the login information and your child was absent, a 3rd year child was absent from school, and for the 6th years when the user IDs are handed out, if you give the office a call, the girls in the office will give you the user ID over the phone and the school roll number for you to access the portal system.
Yeah, brilliant. Another one coming in there, Mr. Bishop, I can answer this one. What happens if you cannot make the Zoom on the day? Supposed to be the same if the same as an in-face parent-teacher meeting, that if there was any particular teacher that you wanted to talk to, that you just contact the school and you ask that teacher to contact you back. But again, we'd be encouraging as many parents and guardians as possible to log in, because if we've, obviously if we've a large amount of parents and guardians requesting phone calls back, it'd be very hard for teachers to do that given their busy schedules. But if you can't make it on the day and that's unavoidable, absolutely no problem. If there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teachers you need to get talking to, contact the office, and the girls in the office will pass your contact details on to those teachers. Next question, Mr. Bishop, what is the starting time? 4 p.m.
So 4:15, and the meeting runs to 6:45.
6:45, yeah. Any other questions, folks? So leave it open for another minute or 2.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say, Mr. Kelly, and I appreciate the uptake already. So we have approximately 70% of our 3rd years have picked their rota already. So it's fantastic to see the uptake on parents, which is always a real positive to see with something new that the school is running.
Absolutely, Mr. Bishop, and again, as mentioned at the start, it seems fairly straightforward, very, very user friendly. Yeah, listen, folks, we leave it at that. If no one has any further questions, listen, if something pops into your mind over the coming days, pick up the phone, contact the school, and we'll do our best to answer them. So listen, take care, and we'll chat to you over the coming days and weeks. Thank you.